Welcome to the tutorial training video for the Oregon FBLA 2013 State Business Leadership Conference online registration system. The first step in the process is to visit your favorite website, oregonfbla.org. To get to the conference page, you're going to put your mouse over Conferences and choose State Business Leadership Conference. You can also get there very quickly at any point in time by typing oregonfbla.org/SBLC. That will route you to the state conference page at any point in time. The conference registration guide is now available for download, and I encourage you to review it in its entirety before you begin the process of registering your students. Our recommendation is to register everything at once when you're ready to conclude your registration. The process this year is all online, and we'll demonstrate that now. The first step is the chapter registration form. This is the overview for your chapter that mirrors what used to be the first tab in the Excel registration spreadsheet. You'll choose your school from the drop-down menu. If for some reason your school is not listed on the drop-down menu, please contact us in the office and we will get that taken care of for you. This screen is just for contact information only. This does not register the main advisor for conference. So what you'll want to do is enter all of your contact information so that we can get a hold of you, including your email address. You'll tell us how many total students you're bringing to conference. Please do not include state officers, as we will register those manually on the back end because their registration fee is complimentary. You'll notice that as I added a registration, the total populated up at the top right. You'll also want to tell us how many total advisors and chaperones are going to be coming to the conference. And then finally, you'll need to tell us which student is going to be your chapter's representative in the Courtesy Corps. For more information about Courtesy Corps, please review your state conference registration guide that explains what the Courtesy Corps is and how they will be used at conference. And yes, the student can receive text messages. So once you submit that form, it's going to reroute you to PayPal. If you would like to pay for your chapter's registration using credit card, you can do so on PayPal's site at this time. As long as you see confirmation of how many students and how much money you have up here, that means your registration form was accepted. So if you're not going to pay with credit card, you can close the tab at that point. If you don't have a PayPal account and want to pay with a credit card, you can click the Don't Have a PayPal Account, and it will load up a form for you to fill out and simply pay without having to create an account. I'm going to close that tab, and I'm going to show you that for each one of these forms that we have, down at the bottom section of the page, there's also a report. These reports in real time show you the data that's been entered into the forms. So I'm going to go to the chapter registration summary, and you'll see that as I've been building the demo videos, I've put our information in 3 times. But all that report summary will give you is the chapter name, how many students, and how many advisors and chaperones. If at any point you need to make changes to anything that's been submitted, you can simply email registration@oregonfbla.org. You cannot make changes online. Once you submit anything, it is complete, and the only way to make changes is to email us at registration@oregonfbla.org. The good news is, once we make that change, that online report will be updated and you can see the current information to confirm that the change was made. This form is the advisor and chaperone registration form, and you will fill out one of these for every advisor and one for every chaperone that's attending. In this form, you'll want to include their name, their email address, and their mobile phone number. We do track these mobile phone numbers so that we can get a hold of them on site if there's any need to do so. Once you submit it, it will take you back to the landing page for the state conference, so you can simply click into that form and do it one more time, or you can move on to the next step. Again, you've got the report that's interactive and in real time and shows you the school, the first name, and the last name of advisors and chaperones that have been registered for conference. So back at this form, the next step is to register your students. For the student registration form, you will fill these out. Oops, that was the report. For the student registration form, you will fill these out one for each student. Again, the school name is a drop-down menu. You'll put their first name, their last name, and their membership number from the national membership system. It's critical that before you start this process, you print a copy of your membership roster from the national system, as this unique field, which is their membership ID number, is required for every single student. You'll choose their t-shirt size. There's a list here to remind you of competitive events that are chapter events or team events. You don't register people for these events, you just upload their PDFs or their links so that they can be judged. Event number 1 is where the performance events are, or the qualified events. So if a student's going to do anything that's got a performance component, that's in the event 1 list. The event 2 is their bonus event, which is an online test or a school site test, and students can do 1 bonus event per person. If they have any special needs, you'll tell us right here what their special needs are, and then you'll submit the form. Again, once you've done all of these forms, and you'll notice that on most of them we no longer ask for your email address, advisors will not receive email confirmations for all of these entries this year. What we encourage you to do is come down to these reports where you can see student registration data, and in real time you'll see the school, first name, last name, shirt size, and competitive events. You can sort these by school, you can sort them by name by clicking on these column headers, or you can remove some of the information if you don't want to see it. I'm going to close that and go back to forms. The next form, again, you'll fill out 1 student registration form for every student going to conference. The PDF online submission form is very similar to last year. Again, your school name comes from the drop-down menu, the competitive event comes from the drop-down menu, and then you'll tell us who the competitors are. If there's only 1, or if there's 2, or if there's 3. The first one's required, the other 2 are optional depending on what it is. By popular request, we added the ability to upload multiple files. So for example, in job interview, if you had 1 file to upload that was the cover letter, 1 that was the resume, and then 1 that was the application, you could do that in 3 separate files if you weren't able to. The only file type that you can upload is a PDF, and once you're done with that, you can submit it. A reminder, it is 1 form per competitive event entry. So you can't put 3 more events down here, otherwise our system, when it filters based on which event you've entered, will miss those extra files and they won't be judged. So once you do that and you submit it, it will reroute you back to the main page for the conference. It'll take a quick moment because it's uploading a file. Takes you back to the main page for the conference. The next one would be the URL submission form, which just like last year is where you put in the URL for your website, for your chapter website, or for digital scrapbook. The March of Dimes contribution form is where you will enter how much money your chapter has raised for the March of Dimes. And then the Chapter of the Year submission form. If you want to be eligible for Chapter of the Year, you need to complete that form, and note that there's only a few questions on it because a lot of the questions are things that we're going to answer from the office. I wanted to show one more report, which is the verification of online submission. You'll see that Oregon FBLA's chapter uploaded something for Administrator of the Year, and the nominee was me. You'll also note that you can't see the file because we've masked those so that you can't see other people's files, you can't see other people's website URLs, but you can go in and confirm that things are in there. I would encourage you, when you're done registering, have your students go in and look at what they're registered for and what they're in so that they can validate that. We look forward to an awesome year with online registration. Again, with this system, you cannot make changes. If you have anything you'd like to change, please email us and we'll be happy to update it for you. When we make those updates, the reports will be updated in real time and you can see that they're done. We look forward to working with you and having a great state conference.